Welcome to Maono Prayer Center, where petitions to the courtrooms of heaven are filed.
Hello, are you married and at times you don't understand your husband? If yes, then this is your message. Welcome to Male Ego Part 2, which is a continuation of Part 1. Today, we are going to learn 8 ways. Yes, 8 ways how the male ego is manifested in your husband on day-to-day basis. How the male ego is manifested in your husband in day-to-day basis, in whatever he does, in whatever he says. Now, male ego is not a respecter of persons. It commands men of all ages, young and old, Christian or non-Christians, white or black, yellow or green, whatever it is. Let me give you a disclaimer though. Men are not bad people per se. They are just 40, like you and me. They are just 40. They're not bad people. They think they think that everything they say or do is right. That's where the problem is. They're not that bad people. Only that they think that everything that they do or say is right. Ladies, it is therefore a waste of time. Yes, waste of time to try getting them to accept their mistakes. They won't. Only those few with sanitized male egos, I mean Christians, will accept their mistakes. And of all the Christians, only a few do accept. Now you may ask me, is the male ego anyway always right? Is the male ego always right? The answer is no. It is no because of the following 8 reasons. Reason number 1, the male ego likes showing off most of the time. Yeah. It likes showing off most of the times. Number 2, the male ego must be always right. According to the male ego, he has to be always right. Yet, nobody is always right. But the male ego thinks that he must be always right. Number 3, the male ego is unwilling to consider opinions of other people. Yet, nobody is a custodian of ideas. Number 4, he can't tolerate anyone being better than him. The male ego cannot tolerate that there is anybody else in this world who is better than him. Yet, nobody is perfect. Number 5, if someone is better than him, if by any chance that there is somebody somewhere who is better than him, he'll try to attack him either physically or verbally, meaning that he is not control of himself. Number 6, the male ego projects himself with both confidence and arrogance at the same time. He projects himself, especially to women, with a lot of confidence and arrogance at the same time. Number 7, he can't tolerate getting corrected. The male ego cannot tolerate getting corrected at all. Cannot correct a man with a male ego. Yeah? And the one who cannot be corrected, my dear ladies and even gentlemen, is full of himself and therefore a proud person. So if you see your husband not being ready to be corrected, then understand that is the male ego at work. And therefore, he is proud, but don't call him proud. The last one, the male ego can be wrong, but it's not willing to admit that it's wrong. That's why you see your husband in the house He does wrong things here and there. He hoofs here and there, but is not willing to admit that he did a mistake. This is a sign of fear, ladies and even gentlemen. This is a sign of fear. If you can remember, those who read the book of Things Fall Apart, there was a character known as Okonkwo. He was driven by fear. That what will people say if they see or trace any weakness in me? So he used to act boldly. And he was not ready to accept any wrongdoing, fear. So men, especially those with egocentric or egoistic heads, you are being driven by fear. Now, you may also ask, should you then ignore this male ego altogether? Ladies, you can ask, if this is the male ego for you, should you maybe ignore him? Now, the answer is no, you cannot afford to. Well, you can choose to ignore him, but at your own peril. If so, if you ignore him, what he does or what he dictates you to do, then you will not sustain any marriage in life. You will go from one man to another, and then to no man at all. So you cannot afford to ignore this man called male ego. The trick is to know how to harness him, to massage him so that you coexist together. He is like a small selfish son. Learn how to massage him with a fear of living with him for the sake of posterity. Let him give you some children for tomorrow. So you cannot do without this male ego anyway. Ladies, that's why whenever you feel the frustration is up to here, you cannot manage it anymore. You go to your mother and tell her, me, I cannot put up with that man anymore. Remember what your mom tells you, those who report, my daughter, persevere and soldier on. That's how marriage is. That's how the man is. You want to live with him, and yet with frustrations, and yet you cannot do without him. I'm going to take you through how this male ego prompts your husband to behave the way he does. Now, 8 ways how the male ego manifests himself in your husband or in men. Attention, ladies. Number 1, the male ego demands that you recognize your husband at all times. I don't know whether that's a huge deal or not, but I have a suggestion for you. Recognition to a man is the greatest motivator, especially when it comes from a woman. Please, therefore, appreciate him by recognizing his work that he does, and let him feel wanted, feel needed, feel important as the head of the family. Let the world know that you love him. Talk good things about him. Tell your friends and family about his achievements and talents. He's a great man. Treat your husband like an investment, not like an expense, and you will see a different person in that home. He will be there all for you. You will not feel him again, but deny him the recognition, and then you are done. Number 2, the male ego in this man demands, the male ego in your husband demands your husband has to feel relevant in that house, that you give your husband relevancy in his home. Well, how? Respect your man's ability and avoid demeaning him. In marriage, the male ego deeply wants a woman who can fully respect her husband's decisions, opinions, knowledge, and judgment. Please consult him in important matters of the family. Let him not come from work or wherever to find a new sofa set, a new expensive sofa set in the living room, of which he was not aware of. A big flat screen TV covering from wall to wall. A TV was not even consulted of. you are killing the relevancy of that man in his home. Be warned. Number 3, the male ego craves for attention like a small kid. A male ego craves for attention like a small kid. You see how a small kid craves for attention? For your attention? Yes. Even this man craves for attention from you. The male ego dictates that you give attention to your husband like the way you do to a small kid. My dear ladies, attention is vitality. It connects you with each other as people. It makes you eager to stay connected. Please acknowledge him by capturing his attention with a reward. Wives, for the sake of his male ego, please, I beseech you, for the sake of his male ego, please do not divert all your attention to the kids and leave him in that corner. Also, give him his attention, his due attention as well. And let him feel noticed and regarded in the home. Most of you ladies, when you give birth to children, you forgot that there was a man called a husband in that house. The house, all your attention is diverted to the children. Everything is diverted, or even the mind is there. The man is left alone. The male ego says, please, as much as you have a lot to do with your children, give your man, your husband, some attention as well. Hive some hours, from the 24 hours a day and attend to your husband. Tell him, here, my friend, my baby, my whatever you call him, I'm here for you. Attention is vitality. It connects both of you. Very important. Number 4, the male ego commands you, the woman, that you respect your husband. Respect is what you owe to your husband, while love is what you give him. The male ego prefers respect to love. Above all things, above all things, the male ego in your husband demands or prefers respect to love. Therefore, deny him anything, but give him respect. You can deny him anything, including that one which you think he loves most, but give him respect. Please show him politeness, good manners, civility, graciousness, kindness, etc., etc. I cannot enumerate it enough. Respect him when he's in the house. Respect him when he's far away out of town. Respect him. Above all, show it to him in his presence and his visitors. Don't you ever disrespect your husband before his children or third parties. Third parties, I mean the visitors. Don't you attend one time, those two categories of people. Don't disrespect your husband before his children. Don't talk to him in a way that will suggest that you don't respect him. Number 5, the male ego in your husband wants that you feed this man. Your husband needs or wants to be fed like a small kid. Your husband needs food to be fed. They're lazy. Male ego, when the male ego notes that you are starving your husband, then it gets mad. And the dictates it will give to your husband, it will affect you. Let me suggest something good for you. The path to the man's heart is through the stomach. If you want to touch your spouse's heart, you have to pass through the stomach. Fixing some delicious finger-eating, satisfying food for your husband is a good way to get him stay in love with you and give him or serve him with respect and love. that one will make him stay in love with you always. He'll not go looking sideways. A male ego, like a kid, like a small boy, yeah, hates to be starved. Yeah, please identify that pleasing food, type of food he likes most, and cook it for him. Let him always be included in the family meal. Always include him in the family meal. At times, there are husbands who goes home, and then he asks, "Hey, Mama Flani, did you cook anything here?" But the mama is busy doing her things. The Mzee comes home, he sits down. The mama is busy doing her stuff. He doesn't come to say, "Oh, my husband, you have come home," then serves him with food. No, just sits down there. Now the question is, the husband thinks like this: do I really belong in this home? If lunch can be served, and I'm not included in the meal, and they know there is nowhere I could have gone to eat, am I really in this home? So take note of that. When you prepare a meal, and if you know your husband is by and large, scoop something for him. Also, it belongs also to the family. More so, is the head of the family. You should not starve him. The male ego inside him is going to take offense against that. And we are going to see in a short while, in the next subsequent videos, why men die early. Why men die early. Even if it's a Ponoko husband who does not know how to provide, it doesn't even bother him whether the family is going to eat what tomorrow. It doesn't. But serve him food anyway. Just like a challenged kid in the home, in the family. Just purpose to feed him anyway. After all, you chose him for a husband. That if you do that, that will save your marriage. That will give you peace of mind. Number 6, the male ego in that husband of yours biblically demands that you support and help him in his endeavors, in his pursuits. The male ego demands, from the biblical point of view, that you the wife, support your husband. You the wife, helps the husband to accomplish that which is supposed to accomplish. Let me make a suggestion for you. Each of us has the power to inspire or depress. Now, the male ego demands one thing from you: to be inspired, to inspire your husband to accomplish that which he wants to do. Learn to communicate with an even tone, using words of encouragement to uplift him up instead of blaming him. Please do not criticize and shoot down whatever your husband does or wants to do. Please. If you must criticize at all, as most of you do anyway, if you must criticize at all, then please do it with wisdom and love. But do not oppose everything for the sake of doing it. Spend more time talking about what he does and less on what he doesn't do. Then you will see a different man you have never seen before. Choose the words that encourages and build him up instead of words which pulls him down. Don't be an opposition leader in that home, shooting down everything he wants to do. Any move, pull down. God says God created you to help him, not to destroy him. God created you for him so that you give him help. You support him, not to pull him down. Number 7, the male ego expects you, the wife, not to censure any of your husband's family members or best friends. Please do not be quick to censure, denounce, condemn, or complain about any of your husband's family and the best friends, you will be doing wrong. The male ego in that husband of yours will not take it lightly. These people are too close to him by blood and emotions. The blood flowing in them is common. We don't share. Don't complain about his mother, the mother who brought him in this world. Don't complain about his brothers and sisters, even if they're devils. You don't do that. There's a way you can talk about them, but don't go dry on them and call them names. There's a way you can talk, you can go around it in such a manner that your husband will know that you are not happy with them. But you don't go criticize them. You don't go criticizing your mother-in-law. You don't go criticizing your in-laws in general. No. Yeah. You don't do that. Please, you don't denounce them. You don't censure them. You don't condemn them. You don't complain verbally, negatively about them. You can express your dissatisfaction in a good way. Yeah. To show him that you're not happy, but you don't denounce them. Don't throw harsh words. You are hurting your husband. The male ego in him is not going to take it lying down. Is the male ego correct? No, but that's how it is, or he is. Please go slow. Please, I beseech you. You go slow and purpose to respect them anyway, even if your condemnation is valid or not. Purpose to respect them anyway. Number 8, the male ego in your husband does not allow and will not allow the man to accept no to sex for an answer. The male ego in him, when you see your husband acting in such a way, it's not to blame. It's the commander in chief inside him, telling him what to do and what not to do. So this commander in chief in him, who is the male ego, does not allow your husband to accept no to any sex advance. Let me give you some few suggestions. Men do not want sex. They don't want it, but they need it. You get the distinction? They don't want it. They actually need it. It is a need for them. For men, sex is hunger, like that of food. When that hunger comes up, they behave like a young kid. Ni kama mtoto ambaye ako na njaa. Analia tu kama, Mami, nataka chakula, I want food, They are like that. So for him to keep quiet, you have to quench him with something small. Give him food. La sivyo, atakula kwa jirani, and you won't like it. You will come back with a diarrhea, throwing up, throwing down. Now listen very carefully. In this world, some things are better than sex. In this world, some things are better than sex. There are many. And some are worse than sex. But according to the male ego, according to the commander in chief, that's the male ego, there is nothing like sex. Did you hear that? But according to the male ego, the commander in chief in your husband, there is nothing exactly like sex. It is on itself. Good or bad? Nothing or what? Nothing is like sex. Nothing, zero. Nothing is like it. That's why the male ego will want it as and when it feels like. No matter your feelings are not there or not. He also wants it as and when he feels like. Please do not cause him to feel rejected, ignored, and irrelevant in that union of marriage. Of course, sex in a marriage shouldn't give either partner power over the other. But unfortunately, the male ego considers it as a conjugal right and not a privilege. Please, therefore, talk to him in love and see how can you go around it to get him that food he wants. Because withholding sex for any reason, the selfish commander in him, the commander in chief, as male ego, will put the man on a rejected mode to get that need elsewhere. Ladies, that's the male ego for you. What do women need to do in order to save our marriages? What do you need to do? Asked differently. What can be done to minimize the ever-rising divorce cases or cases of divorce in the society today? Because you can see these millennial marriages are not going beyond 4 or 5 years. They divorce in the first 1 month, 1 year, 2 years. If not, they're enduring marriage instead of enjoying it. Women, let me tell you what you can do. Please take the male ego as a human disability in the family. Unless you put this in your mind, you will get it wrong always. Pack things and go. Young couples, let me help you. Women, please understand and take a male ego as a human disability in the family that you need to live with, nevertheless, or anyway. If you have got a child who is disabled, challenged physically, you can't go through in the pit. That will be inhuman. So what you do, you work all ways possible to make that disabled kid in the house, in the family, feel also needed, wanted, So the same way, please take the male ego as a human disability in your family that you need to live with until Jesus comes. Then ask God to give you the following 3 things. Number 1, ask God to give you grace to be able to tolerate him. Ask God, give me the grace to be able to take care of this disabled kid in the family. God will give you grace. You want grace, He will give you. Ask for it. Number 2, ask the same God to teach you appropriate skills that will enable you to deal with the commander-in-chief in that man. You have to know who your husband is. You know his tests, his dislikes. You know how to do what, when. Yeah. So ask God to teach you appropriate skills that will enable you to deal with that commander-in-chief, the male ego in your husband. Number 3, ask God to deliver him from that bondage, that disability. The man needs deliverance so that these petty issues will not take it that you are in subordinate or you are subordinate to him. He will regard you as an equal partner in marriage. And that's how it is supposed to be in Christian circles. Let him be born again, go to church, be taught the modern way of parenting, the modern way of husbanding, so that you can relate together and stay together happily and ever. Those are the 3 ways that I can tell you that you can do. Now, in the next video, we are going to learn 8 ways how the male ego can destroy your marriage. And I'm going to tell you how to block that. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a must-watch video. if you don't want your marriage to go south. Therefore, subscribe. If you want to save your marriage, subscribe. May God bless you. Shalom.
Thank you so much for listening to us. We are extremely grateful. This message was brought to you courtesy of Maono Prayer Center. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Shalom.